Greetings, family. Welcome to Spirit Knocks to Brooklyn Mosaic. So today I am here to talk about graffiti and the street artists that died. I came across this information and it was so profound that I was like, I have to do a memorial. That's what I've been called to do. And I think that's what these artists have been channeling me to do. I thought it was just a matter of them helping me on my spiritual journey with the graffiti letters and the art that I have discovered in the earth and in the clouds and the things that I've been telling you to be aware of. But this is so much bigger than me. This is about me venerating and honoring those artists that died, right? That were committed to something that they probably really didn't even understand because many of them were children, right? So I was doing some research. I found like the 10 most famous graffiti artists. And not that they're more famous than local people that we might know, but the fact that their art was recognized in mainstream. Okay. So, and I said, where are the ladies? And I came across Lady Pink. Her work is so profound. I actually sent her an email. I don't know if I'll ever hear from her, but I wanted her to know that I honor what she does because she's a pioneer, and I didn't know that I knew there had to be sisters involved, but I didn't know who they were, but I heard her name before. So I contacted her and I hope to hear from her. There were other artists like Scene and Cypher and all these people, and I've heard the names but didn't know who the people were. I also knew about Graffiti Cruise, right? Coming up, you all have heard me speak about that. And of course, as I'm bringing you this message, all day, no banging, right? It was raining. All of a sudden, there's banging, everybody's working, there's noise. But once again, the message will not be stopped because I'm going to venerate these folks today because I realized they channeled through me to call their names because many of them don't have names listed, right? But we still need to honor them. So I'm going to run through the list. This is probably going to be about 3 videos long. I'll do it in a series because I have 75 people here that have been killed from graffiti deaths. And I don't know if we even knew that, which I think is almost a shame, right? That people lost their lives for their art, for us. And we don't know who they are. We don't know how they died or why they died. So unfortunately, I'm going to start with September 28th, 1983, and I'm going to go from there. So y'all hang in here with me. See if I can slide this over. Here we go. We're going to start with the U.S., of course, right? New York City, because that's my home base. 28th of September, 1983, country, the United States. The death type was choked or strangled. Age was 25. Michael Stewart was arrested in New York City for tagging and was beaten badly while in police custody. He was pronounced dead 13 days later as a result of police brutality. We honor you, Michael Stewart. December 1986, Australia. Collision with a signal box. Died at the age of 14. A 14-year-old was leaning out of a moving train while attempting to spray paint graffiti on the side of the train when his head collided with a signal box. He later died from the injuries. As an artist, you could be so involved in what you're doing that you lose sight of everything around you because you're in a zone, right? So we honor him. There's no name here. November 9th, 1987, United Kingdom, dragged by a train and died. Age 11. 11-year-old died when he was at an underground station next to the tracks trying to graffiti trains, and a train dragged him 50 yards into a tunnel. It is speculated that he had been opposite the platform, hiding in a gap in a wall so that he could lean out to graffiti the trains. And his clothing may have been caught on a train, which resulted in him being dragged into a tunnel. We honor you, young brother. 1988, Australia. They don't know how the death occurred. They just have died. it was reported that a person died when they were trying to paint the outside of a moving train. They don't know how the death happened, or maybe they didn't think it was worthy of investigation, but we honor you, unidentified individual. August 11th, 1989. I'm sorry, that's 1989. Australia, collision with the signal box. Died at the age of 16. A 16-year-old died when he was leaning from a train carriage door and his head collided with a signal box. A marker pen was found on the railway tracks nearby. There was fresh graffiti on the train, and the person had previously graffitied the inside of the train carriage. We honor you. 29th of November, 1989. In the U.S., collision with the train, died a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old. 2 people died when they had been spray painting graffiti on the walls of a subway train tunnel, and a train collided with them. Now, I don't know if you all are familiar with New York City trains, but they have the tunnels either above ground or underground. So if the tunnel's underground, you know that it comes out into the station, but then it's closed. It's just a closed area and the train goes through. So if they're inside that tunnel trying to graffiti the walls and they don't get out there fast enough, because them trains come flying through. And some people might underestimate and think that because that little ledge is there, that it gives them enough space to stand against the wall and let the train pass. But they're not thinking about whether their clothes could get caught, whether the velocity from the wind will cause the clothes to come up. So there's all kind of external factors that I don't think people really think about. But these are the things that have to be considered. So we honor them, 17 and 19. We got another one. It's so many. It's just sad. I'm going to go to like 10 minutes and then I'm going to stop so we can continue and honor everyone respectfully, because I don't want to rush through it, and I want to give everybody their understanding, their veneration, their honor. So that was 2 people, 17 and 19. We honor them and their families for their loss. December 16th, 1989, Australia, collision with the train, injured, 15. Collision with train, injured, 15. A person was leaning out of the side of a moving train. They were attempting to graffiti on the side of the train using a felt pen when they fell underneath the wheels of the train about 400 meters from a train station. Their left leg was amputated and they received microsurgery on their right leg. And it was uncertain as to whether the person would need to have their right leg amputated. That was in Australia. We honor you, brother. It sounds like you still may be an ancestor, a walking ancestor, whether you have your legs or not, right? Spiritually, you were given your legs, you were physically given your legs, and we will always see you as that person that had your legs and sacrificed for your art. Blessings to you. February 20th, 1992 in Switzerland, collision with a train, died 15 and 16-year-olds. 2 teenagers died when they were attempting to spray graffiti on a railway electricity shed, and they were hit by a train. November 8th, 1992, Germany, collision with a train, died. Both of them were 17. 2 people died after they were on a railway line and a train collided with them. It was speculated that they had been on the railway line in relation to the creation of graffiti. May 25th, 1993, Australia. They don't know the death. It just has a question mark. It says died, age 21. A person died when they were hanging out of a moving train while attempting to create graffiti and were crushed to death. June 25th, 1983, in the U.S., on an Amtrak train, died. Now, Amtrak, for those of you who don't know, is different from New York City trains, right? Amtrak usually goes from like New York to D.C., New York to Chicago. They run across the country, right? Whereas New York City trains run locally underground. in the city, the Bronx, the Brooklyn, Queens, New York, like that. So this is Amtrak, which are much bigger and much faster. Skate, or FKB or CB5 crew, was struck by an Amtrak train while painting a freight in Los Angeles. We honor you, Skate. We honor SK3. We honor CB5 crew. April 26, 1995, Australia, collision with a bridge. Died age of 14. A person died when they were leaning out the door of a moving train and they were spraying graffiti on the side of the train and they collided with a road bridge. That's 10 minutes, 49 on the clock, so I'm going to stop there. Join me in part 2 as we finish venerating the graffiti artists that sacrificed their lives, that were injured, in honor of their art and of getting us a message, right? And sharing their art with the world. I'll see you in the next episode, and you're always welcome to Spirit Knocks for Brooklyn Mosaic.